go ahead and add the cuts and the layers on top of that. What we want to do right now is make this look really irregular. Okay, so what we need to do is turn off symmetry on the x-axis, and we want to bring this up and add a lot of irregularity to this. Okay, so that's coming up more there. Okay, that looks fine. And then we can add a little bit more right here. And then right here, we have to be really careful because it's super thin, so I want to see if inflate helps at all with this. And it does help some, but yeah, it helps some. So we'll do this along the edge some, but it gives it kind of a weird look. That's okay. Our zombie is seen better days. So we will turn on symmetry for this part. No, we'll do this all manually on both sides. But yeah, just add this along the edge so we can add some more detail up here. And go over here to where it's really thin over here as well. And add that bit of edge detail, inflation, along the very edge of the skull where it's been cut. Okay? You might think, oh, what's wrong with it being really thin? But the reason you don't want it so thin is simply because you can't really add any detail on it when it's that thin. So it's good to thicken it up a little bit so we can add the blobs going over the edge and things like that. So, and it even looks kind of okay this way. But we can smooth it out some anyway. Alright, so it's all ready to keep adding details to it. I'm going to go back to this brush over here and add in a little bit of height right here. Going to turn the brush up so it doesn't take as long to do. I'm going to try to keep right on the edge here. It's kind of hard to see what's going on, so you could do multiple views, multiple windows just to keep an eye on it, but it's not that necessary. It's all pretty random. And what we're doing is adding the irregularity to simulate the skull being ripped apart. Now if a if a surgeon had done this, then they should be revoked of their license, but since this zombie was probably ripped apart by some rabid raccoon or dog who was very hungry for flesh, then, you know, it's fine to make it look like it was done without much care. Or done violently, shall we say. So, let me see, add a little bit of a ridge thing right there. And even some more right there. You want to do it right over top so you get it coming straight up. Otherwise it looks kind of funny. Okay, so that's the base for what we're going to be doing along the edge right there. And now it's time to do the subtraction on it. So I'm going to save that as real quick. And go back to this brush and subtract this time. And here we're going to be adding in all the cuts, okay? So like we did before, we're going to be adding in indentations this time, and we're actually going to bring down the cut, okay? And we'll add more detail to the cuts as we go along, but just add it in as needed. Whatever looks irregular, don't leave anything smooth all along the edge here, just so we can make them look very very beat up. Okay, so make sure to get it all along here. And what you don't want to do is space it out so even. You don't want to space it out too evenly, so you want to make sure some are longer than others. And we'll make this one a very important scar on his face. And very important gash, shall I say. since it's not really a scar. Deepen this one a little bit more. And just keep adding detail like this all the way around, and you'll make your zombie look very, very unpleasant, which is what we're going for. We're going for a very cool look with this guy. Want to make sure you don't hit the brains, give him brain damage or anything. So, and what's good to do is to get the space of the cuts pretty close to each other, and then really far apart. That way it looks like damage was done in certain places at a similar time, so it gives it more realism that way. Size the brush down and add in some more cuts right there, like that. Okay, so you can keep going around adding more and more cuts, but I'm going to finish it up pretty quick here. Just get the brush gradually smaller as you go along, rough it up some. You could even have the cut kind of branch off some. Have this one be a little bit more important, and this one branch off. So that's enough cuts for the moment. You can always add more. Actually, I will add a little bit more, or at least add some irregularity right along the edges here. To break it up some. Okay, so that's enough, and next we'll add the brains coming out once we finish up the final details on some of our scratches here. Okay, so we want the brains to come out, and so we're going to use a similar tool as we did for as before. So we're going to use like the we're going to try using the blob tool. And it's not quite what we want. We'll just use the draw tool and use it to add some brain and goo coming out. No, let me see what tool would be best for this. Let's try the blob again, see how that goes. There we go, that's working okay. So just have it kind of goop out and connect it with the rest of your project. By having it kind of just blob out over the edge. Now that looks kind of similar to the rest, but how we're going to differentiate it is, for one thing, these are coming up and those are going down. And the other thing is these are like dripping down, whereas those are cracks. And what we're going to have it do is drip down on the shoulder like this, and make some of it bigger and some of it smaller, and just kind of like randomly have brains gushing out of one part of his head. So this isn't exactly the kind of shoulder you should lean on. Finish adding some more detail. Make the brush different sizes for different sizes of brain stuff coming out. And then once you're content with that, lead some up to an edge, and we will exaggerate it even a little bit more by making some of it going over the edge. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a little bit more right along the edge here. Okay, and then what we're going to do after that is we're going to use the snake hook tool. And what we're going to do is going to grab some, just kind of snake hook it down. Thing is, you want to make sure you have enough globby stuff, and then use the snake hook tool and drag it down some. But it stretches the geometry out like this, so you want to be careful not to do it too much. You just want to do it a little bit. Make it look like the goop's hanging down. And you can use the grab tool and smooth it out some, and then, you know, smooth tool to smooth it out some. Grab to kind of fix the gravity on it some, and the snake hook tool a little bit more just to bring it down a tiny bit more. So yeah, so now you have a little bit of goop coming over the edge from all the brains dripping down. But that's a lot of brains coming out for right there, so we'll want to add to that a little bit more to make it make sense. For how much is on the shoulder, we want to add a little bit more here so it makes sense how much is already dripped down. Okay, so have it come down some more, and have it just keep dripping and gooping all the way down. Okay, so you can add to it more and more as you see fit. And yeah, just have fun. This is one of the more fun parts of it. If you do it right, it's kind of fun just to see it happening quickly and looking good without much effort. So as far as layering it on the shoulder there is pretty easy. Getting it to work right up here is a bit harder. So yeah. And of course you can add some more goop coming on over here, over on the other side. Size it down and have it just kind of trail around and be all like nasty. Okay, so now we have some brain goop coming out, and one other thing we're going to do with the scratches is we're going to use the crease tool and bring them in some. Okay, they're more like gashes than scratches, but anyhow, bring those all in a little bit, and we have 2 more steps to go with our zombie. One step is to open up his mouth a little bit and add some teeth, and then the step after that would be adding some stitches and other details.